Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. Tonight on the show, we're going to take a look at the Omen Navy Issue, which is the Mmorpg cruiser, the faction Mmorpg cruiser, that of course specializes in holy lasers. I'd like to throw a big thanks and shout out to Joe Ace for being able to provide us with this ship as a loan. For testing purposes, of course. He's part of the Empire of Jeebus, which is part of Elysium Alliance. As always, if you like what you're seeing here, please throw in a like and a subscribe. And if you really want to help me keep this channel alive, there's also always a YouTube channel membership. You can donate a monthly sum as small as $2, of course, with some benefits. Link in the description. You'll also find in the description the Discord server for the Empire of Jeebus, if you guys want to chat with them. So let's get on to our subject, because this is a ship I really wanted to get my hands on, but of course, being focused on some other stuff, as you can see, my wallet is pretty crappy. Buying skills is all that I need. We've got the ship here, has been a loan to us. We're gonna activate it, we're gonna take a look at it, because the ship can do wonders, of course in the most capable of hands. The Omen Navy Issue just looks gorgeous. It's, as I mentioned, it's a faction cruiser of the Mmorpg Empire. And let's take a look at the skills and the ship role bonuses and ship description that basically come with every ship. We've got the 10% decrease of medium laser capacitor need and 2% decrease in medium laser activation time. This means extra DPS because your guns cycle faster. For advanced medium laser operation per level, meaning in level 5 you get 50% capacitor need less for medium lasers and 2 times 5, 10% reduction in activation time. Advanced cruiser command bonus per level gives you 5% inertia modifier, meaning it can move not faster in terms of speed, but it can align faster. It has increased agility and 5% scan resolution and 5% sensor strength. It can target things faster than a normal cruiser would do. Basic info, overall defense 12,361 effective HP. This is with skills applied I have. And we have a flight velocity of 257 meters per second and a power grid output of 924 megawatts. The capacitor is pretty decent for a cruiser, 3127 gigajoules, and a cargo hold capacity pretty much like every other standard cruiser, 800 cubic meters. The armor resistances are pretty standard again as well for any armor tanked ship. We've got armor resistances, 50% electromagnetic, 35% thermal, 25% kinetic, and 20% explosive, and it values around 65 million ISK on the market. Now, let's head over to the actual attributes. We've got 2660 shields, and we've got way bigger armor, 3919. This is pretty obvious that it is an armor tank. Most Mmorpg, actually all Mmorpg ships have armor tank capabilities. That's pretty much on the information on here. The only thing that I'd like to point out is the fitting structure of the slots, how they're organized is pretty much the same against all other Empire faction ships like the Vexor Navy Issue or the Caracol Navy Issue. We've got 5 high slots, 3 med slots, and 4 low slots. Now, again, this is compensating for the lack of drones, because we know the Vexor Navy Issue has 5 drone slots and 3 med slots, while this baby right here has just 1 single drone slot, because it focuses on turrets and holy lasers. As I mentioned, we've got 2 rigs, and I'll pretty much try to cover that as well. But let's go and hit some fittings and see how this baby behaves. Let's take, for example, we've got 5 medium pulse lasers, so let's go for the close range fit. Medium pulse lasers are the close range variant of the medium laser guns. So let's fit 5 of these. Another 1, 3 more. This is going to take a little bit. We got 1 more. That's it. Whoop, misclick. Dummy. Okay, so in total damage, this is with my skills I have. This is the cold reading, as I like to say. I have no modules active like the heatsink, which is the primary damage module upgrade to gain some boosts in damage. I've got 233 DPS. Now let's add 1 heatsink, because that's probably what you'll mostly fit all the time, at least 1. I won't recommend going into 2 unless you're going into for some sniping fits in fleet battles or gang battles. Mostly you'll be running 1 heatsink or none. This is something that you might want to consider, because if you prefer more tankiness, then you'd probably go with no heatsink at all, because the damage is pretty decent altogether. We've got right now 250 DPS cold reading, and if we undock and try... Oh, look, I need money, please donate. Yeah, I'm in Toshmerkan. Of course, it's a trade hub. Of course, scammers are everywhere. Let's stop our ship. Let's activate the heatsink, and let's see what this turns into. 307 DPS for pulse lasers, which is pretty nice altogether. My skills are pretty decent. I have level 4 in medium laser turret, and level 3 or 4 in medium, an advanced medium laser turret, and I've got level 4 in medium turret upgrade, and level 3 in advanced medium turret upgrade. This is some pretty decent DPS for a cruiser. Now, the defense is just 1400, of course, but we're gonna go and dock up. Oh, there's some lagginess there. Come on, mate. Let's dock back up and let's start adding some stuff to take a look at the tankiness. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put right beside this heatsink, we're gonna put a medium armor repairer. So this, then we're gonna fit like a reactive armor. You can go with an adaptive, of course. The adaptive just gives you resistances across the board. With the reactive armor, you get shifting resistances, so when you take damage, while this module is active every cycle, it shifts the resistances, increasing and trying to plug the hole on which you receive the most damage. Let's add like an afterburner and see how the speed of this ship is with the afterburner. I would recommend going with the micro warp drive, especially for some sorts of fits. We're going into that just in a quick bit. And for the last slot, we could go for the armor repairer. For the med slots, this is, I'd say, a close range PVE fit. Or you can actually, if you switch the afterburner for a micro warp drive and fit some stasis webs, you could very well go with a PvP fit. But remember, it's really important to get a micro warp drive if you want this close range fit, because you really need to get in range. Let's take a look at the medium pulse laser. It has 50 DPS by itself, with skills applied, of course, and with ship bonuses. Optimal range 13 kilometers. You really want to get into that range to deal proper damage, and accuracy fall-off is not that great, just 5.7 kilometers. Tracking speed is pretty decent, and of course this is a storyline module. With Mark 5s and Mark 7 you'll get some lower values in terms of DPS. But these items, because people are farming storyline missions like it's nothing, all these story items basically crashed regarding the prices. They're pretty much cheap, almost free. And for the drone, I don't have any drones here, but I'd recommend fitting like, depending on what kind of PvE content you want to make, and what kind of NPCs you want to shoot, to fit a a drone specific for that damage type. This is different. If Eve Echoes is different than Eve Online, you need to deal damage as per the enemy NPCs is tanking. It's not like in Eve Online where the NPCs that deal some specific kind of damage, they take better damage from some specific type, the same specific types of damage. For example, I don't know, let's say the Kaldari, if you fight against Garistas, they deal kinetic and thermal, and they are susceptible to kinetic and thermal damage, predominantly more than the other damage types. Here, this is different. The NPCs have some specific tanks, like the Garistas tank with shield, duh. So the best damage for the Garistas is actually electromagnetic. The damage here is taken into consideration to apply to the NPCs based on the tank they have. So if you're fighting against armor tanked NPCs, this fit, actually the laser weapon type is going to suffer a bit, because we know armor tanking has some natural resistances against the electromagnetic damage. But you could say it compensates by the sheer amount of damage that you can do with this baby. In terms of rigs, I don't have any rigs at me, and I really cannot afford to buy any from the market. I'd recommend with going for some DPS rig and probably for some extra rate of fire rigs to be able to fire faster. Right now, this medium pulse laser fires activation time after 4.7 seconds. This is how much a weapon cycle lasts on the Omen Navy Issue. Remember that Omen Navy Issue has one specific perk of having reduced activation time on guns. In terms of PvP, this ship is pretty amazing against shield type fits. Why? Because we all know lasers melt shields. As I mentioned, if you want to be able to do this close fit in PvP, I'd definitely recommend getting a micro warp drive instead of that afterburner. But for a PvE fit, this is very good. Why? Because you have the afterburner, does not consume so much cap. As you can see, we are stable with 2 medium energy Nosferatus, meaning you can go right towards the enemy. And we'll quickly go just a bit outside to show you guys the speed that this can get with the afterburner. So we're going to go into one direction right here. We're going to activate the afterburner. Immediately you can see the speed going up around 600 meters per second, which is good to speed tank some stuff, of course, in PvE combat, but the fact that you can maintain speed and you can avoid, if you're fighting against Garistas or Min or Angels, you can mitigate some of that damage, and you can also basically get in range fast without increasing your signature radius using a micro warp drive, taking increased damage from missiles. Not increased damage, but taking maximum damage from missiles. So what we have here is a pretty decent level of speed, and combine it with getting in range pretty quick, pretty okay. You have those medium Nosferatus to drain the NPC capacitor, replenish your own, and keeping those modules active and the afterburner running, and of course also the armor repair module on at all times, so you can basically tank constantly. Now the other fit to show you guys is the long range fit. So let's dock up, and we're gonna quickly switch the guns. So we're gonna replace these. As you can see, the power grid is pretty okay with close range weapons. We're gonna switch to long range weapons. Fortunately, I didn't have enough story items as in medium beam lasers, but I do have some. Oops, I think I forgot to grab them. Whoopsie. Let's try to buy some off the market. We're gonna get these. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and we've just bought some faction, some story medium beam lasers almost for free, for cheap, 15,000 ISK per piece. And as you can see, the total DPS is a lot smaller, but the trade-off is the actual range, because in comparison to the pulse lasers, which have like 13 kilometers, you need to be inside a range to deal some damage. These have an optimal range of 23 kilometers, and of course it can be extended, and I think you understand exactly how. If you take out the wrapper and you fit like a tracking computer, suddenly your optimal range is 26 kilometers, and the accuracy fall-off is 10 kilometers. So you can basically hit from 36 kilometers, no problem. The DPS is still the same. The tracking computer does not actually affect DPS. It only provides a passive boost to optimal range bonus, fall-off bonus, and tracking speed bonus. And of course, when you activate this, you get a multiplier of 500%, meaning outside, let's take a look. We will activate the tracking computer just so you see how much the range increases, because the Omen Navy Issue is excellent for a sniping vessel. Let me stop the ship, let's activate the tracking computer, and let's hit the fitting. And now if we click on this, you can see I can hit at 40 kilometers and 15 kilometers accuracy fall-off, meaning a total of at least 50 kilometer range in which I can deal damage, no problem. Now, why is this good? Because when in PvP fits, let's dock up again. If you like to run a small gang or fleet, you definitely don't want a medium wrapper. What you do want to go for is to remove the resistances altogether. Or you can actually keep a resistance and actually remove the heatsink, which is the damage mod. And you want to fit some plates. Yep, you want to fit some plate. And there we have it. 2 plates fitted. Oh, unfortunately, we don't have enough capacitor, but we can get rid of these, because in long range fits, these actually don't make any sense. And now we've completely activated the plates, and we've hit a defense of 20,000 effective hit points, which is pretty good for a cruiser. And considering that you'll be sitting at long range sniping ships away, it's going to be pretty nasty for your opponent. Now these are the basic fits that you would want, or at least you'd like to fly in either PvE or PvP. Let's switch over to the close range fit, and I'll show you exactly how to have fun in some anomalies, because you can actually do these level 5, even level 6 if you live in nullsec with the Omen Navy Issue, no problem. Okay, so we have arrived at our destination where the encounter is, so we can confirm. You can hit cancel if you're fitted with long range weapons. I'd really recommend you go and warp at a distance. How you do that? Well, you basically hit this, tap and hold, and you can set the desired range for which you want to warp at. But given the fact we are close range fit, we're just gonna warp to 0, and we're going to deal with the pirates' brawling style. One more interesting thing, if you guys didn't know, you can actually group your weapons just like this. Drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. Pretty simple. Let's move around our stuff a bit. And let's get that wrapper here so we can have it. One thing you want to activate is your armor hardware. And we've just arrived. We have a cruiser, and we're going to set our focus for the, do we have a destroyer here? Yep, we do. We're going to activate our afterburner, and we're going to lock the load. We can actually lock everything up. So I'm just going to set my orbit to like 5 kilometers. I'm going to start blasting I picked the cruiser. Well, sucks. You're just melting with this ship. And you can basically keep your stuff active at all times. You just need to orbit in lower than 8 kilometers because that's the maximum range, optimal range for the medium energy Nosferatu. You've got 8 kilometers optimal range. And you can also activate the web just to keep them in place and have better tracking, of course, if you're fighting against frigates. Now, as you can see, my ship is basically speed tanking. We're going to orbit this one at 6 kilometers, and we're just going to start shooting and blapping it right away. We're inside the optimal range, so there's no problem whatsoever. The coercer is just melting under the sheer power of the lasers. As you can see, we're having difficulties against armor tanked ships, which is the case of Blood Raiders, and we're doing less damage than we're supposed to. Of course, if we would have fought Sancha's nation, then those ships would have been pretty much melted instantly. Just a second, because it's actually tanking, speed tanking. I activated my web on a different ship by mistake. Just gonna hit it in place. Don't worry about the low shield. This is an armor tank, and we don't even care. As you can see, my capacitor is sitting at 75% constantly. We're draining. NPCs have infinite capacitor, by the way. You can drain them as much as you like. I'm just going to prepare and orbit this one for 5 kilometers because that is our next target. The destroyer is going to go black pretty soon. And as you can see, we just armor tank. We repair the armor, no problem. There's nothing inside the PVE area that can pose a problem, at least in Empire space. And also, yeah, you'll have to be a bit more careful with what you actually want to destroy. So we've just switched targets automatically. We're going to blap this sink out of existence. We're going to activate the heat sink. And how are we missing? Let's stop the ship. With one web, we're not dealing sufficient damage. We're inside the optimal range, aren't we? This is 13 kilometers. Ooh, one shot. Okay, so one problem is the speed, because pulse lasers have significantly less tracking speed. Drag to unlock target. Well, this is a nice feature. Orbit. You can basically sit still. You can deactivate this. We're just gonna shoot these out of existence. This is pretty much it. This is exactly what you'd want from an faction cruiser. Sheer amount of damage, good tank, and altogether good resistances, and of course having the ability to fit all sorts of stuff, giving you versatility in various combat operations. PVE, PVP, you can also run encounters and story missions with this, but be careful, you won't be able to do them the same as easy as the Vexor Navy Issue, because the Vexor Navy Issue has a range advantage with those drones. Can deploy drones and just get the hell out of there and leave the drones to deal with the targets. Here, you actually need to get in range, or if you have long range fit, you actually need to speed tank. So a micro warp drive is ideal. I'm just sitting, and I'm just going to blap things out of existence. Low damage here. The magnate is probably because is too close to me. I'm gonna try to get out of range a bit. You probably want to go with dual webs if you really want to keep your things in place. As you can see, we just nuked the armor away. So let's get a shot of the afterburner and get away from this guy. Just a little bit. I have no problem tanking. Just gonna stop my ship here. And as you can see, one shot destroyed the shield and half the armor. Yeah. This is very good damage. As always, if you want to find more info about the ship, you can always try to search for wikis or for information online. But regardless, thank you very much for watching. And if you do have some suggestions or some other important information that maybe I forgot to cover, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. Very big shout out to my channel supporters, and a big shout out to Joe Ace for being able to loan us this ship to test. Cheers.